This is a presentation for the English Language Arts Multiple Choice Reading Exams. Here are 5 basic strategies for success. Number 1, read the questions first, then the selection, then answer the question. Number 2, read everything that is on the page. Number 3, reread cited lines in the stem in the context of the surrounding sentences in the passage. Number 4, read the stem of the question carefully, noting directing words and verbs that are used. And number 5, align the answers to reflect the author's theme that is often found in one of the last questions for the passage. So here's strategy 1. To read the questions first. This strategy of reading the questions first can provide one with a basic idea of the reading. As well, the questions can help the reader to recognize what areas of the passage need the most focus. And finally, the questions can provide hints about the theme of the passage and thus help one to answer other questions. So let's look at the questions for the poem Water Slides and see what can be understood by just reading the question. So here's question number 1. Details in lines 1 to 9 suggest that while sorting the wash, line 1, the speaker experiences feelings of A. Fond reflection, B. Eager anticipation, C. Confidence and optimism, or D. Fulfillment and belonging. Here's question number 2. While doing an ordinary task, the speaker recalls the child's past as a brambled summer, suggesting the summer was one filled with A. Fun and adventure, B. Sunshine and innocence, C. Excitement and evasion, or D. Exploration and missteps. Here's question number 3. The image evoked by the word paddling, line 8, is reinforced by the poet through the use of the word A. Rough, B. Childhood, C. Voyageur, or D. Slippery. And the final question is 4. The poem focuses on a parent's A. Desire to influence a child's decisions, B. Preoccupation with ensuring a child's safety, C. Observation regarding a child's development, or D. Concerns about the consequences of a child's actions. By reflecting on the questions before reading the poem, the reader can get some general ideas about the reading, which can provide a foundation of understanding about the passage. For example, after reading the questions, the reader can understand that the poem is about a parent and child's relationship, that there is some figurative language connected to paddling and brambles, that the parent is recollecting about the child's past, that the parent is sorting the wash while feeling something, and finally that the title Water Slides is connected to the son's actions and the parent's concerns. So by previewing, the reader can understand the questions are focused on the feelings the parent is expressing about her or his child, and the last question, number 4, suggests that the reader should align previous answers with the answer to this question. So strategy 2 is about reading everything. Read the title, for it suggests the main idea or theme, and that's particularly true of poetry. Number 2, make sure you read the preamble, which is the introduction to the story, and it will be used to set the scene, and it will also give you the background, the characterization, and the setting. Author's biography, if it's given, often gives you some insight to the author's perspective and the time period he's writing in or she's writing in. And footnotes clarify meaning by often giving definitions. And then finally, the list of characters found in plays often provide descriptions of characters that can help to unlock meaning. Remember that if it wasn't important, it wouldn't be included on the exam, so make sure you read everything. So let's now read the poem, noting the title, the author, and any footnotes provided. So the poem is titled Water Slides by Carol Browse. Sorting the wash, I pick clean weeds from the empty foot of my son's socks, and live again the brambled summer of his furious paddling against the rough edges of childhood. A voyageur caught like a burr, stuck to an angel, exploring the edge of a flat world to find the source of slippery water slides. And also take note that the footnotes are there for 3 words, brambled, voyageur, and burr. And at the bottom you also have an understanding of when she wrote this in 1989. So this is strategy 2, also thinking about the significance of the title. Ask why the author chose this particular title for the reading. What does the title mean? Is the title suggesting a figurative or literal interpretation? What is suggested by the title? For instance, what are the slippery water slides? What is suggested by the reference to water slides? How are these slides connected to the son and to the mother? And again, strategy 2, also taking note of the footnotes. While doing an ordinary task, the speaker recalls the child's past as a brambled summer, suggesting the summer was one filled with A, fun and adventure, B, sunshine and innocence, C, excitement and evasion, and D, exploration and missteps. And now I have the footnote brambled, which says that it's a prickly shrub. And when I understand that a prickly shrub would hurt if it caught on my skin, then I would understand that I was looking for an answer that had some level of hurt to it. So fun and adventure doesn't show me any hurt. Sunshine and innocence doesn't show hurt. Excitement and evasion doesn't show hurt. The only one that really would imply some level of hurt is a misstep. And so now I know that the answer for number 2 would be D, exploration and missteps. Strategy 3 is to reread cited lines and look for the context. So you were given lines 1 through 9 in question 1, and line 1, sorting the wash. And when you read through the whole thing, you get a sense of what the question might ask. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at question 1 again so that you have an understanding of it, and then we'll come back. So question number 1, details in lines 1 to 9 suggest that while sorting the wash, line 1, the speaker experiences feelings of. So now I know I want to look for feelings, and I want to choose between fond reflection, eager anticipation, confidence and optimism, fulfillment and belonging. Let's go back to earlier slide. Now I look for something that is going to show me feelings. Sorting the wash, I pick clean weeds from the empty foot of my son's sock, and live again the brambled summer of his furious paddling against the rough edges of childhood. As I reread these lines, I'm looking for feelings, and the only really line that shows me feelings is the idea that the speaker is saying she lives again the brambled summer of his furious paddling. So when I look at this then, and I look at the alternatives, I want to look at that word live again, and I know again means to think back on something. The only answer that shows me that I'm looking back is fond reflection, and so A is the answer for this question. Strategy 4 is to notice the directing words if used in the stem. These directing words are bolded words in the stem and are used to provide the exam writer some direction on how to understand what the question is asking. So literal directing words are words like most clearly, most directly, most explicitly, most concretely, and mainly. These words indicate that the answer is to be found in a stated or literal understanding and not something that is going to go figurative. And so you don't want to overthink the answer, and you also want to understand that the answer has to be stated in the response. The figurative directing words are words like most likely, most significantly, most reflects, most vividly. These words are suggesting or implying, and they're asking you to stretch your understanding and look for a comparison that might take it to a figurative level or symbolic level. Here's a random question with a directing word. The line that most clearly reveals that Flick was a star basketball player is. Now, most clearly is going to go literal, so I want to see a stated answer in my correct answer. A is once Flick played for the high school team, the Wizards. Now here I have a sense of him playing, but not that he's a star basketball player. So that's not the answer. A county record still would suggest that this does reflect star quality because it's still a record. But most of us remember anyway, line 22 would suggest he's a basketball player, but again, doesn't suggest that he's a star. And D, bright applauding tears would suggest that, again, he is a basketball player, but it could be just the play and not the player that is being applauded. So most clearly means the answer has to be a literal statement that shows the star quality play. The only alternative that fits that then, that shows that he has the star quality that lasts for a long time, is a county record still. So the answer to this question is B. Here's a water slide question that looks on the verb choice. So the image evoked by the word paddling is reinforced by the poet through the use of the word. And now we've got two verbs, evoked and reinforced. Evoke is to call something forth in like an imagery, and is reinforced is a statement that is restated. So I want a word that is going to connect to paddling. Is it A, rough, B, childhood, C, voyageur, or D, slippery? Now if I go back to my footnotes, I understood that a voyageur is a boatman, and so boat and paddling are connected, and therefore the answer is C. Strategy 5 is to consider the thematic link between questions for the passage. Understand the questions are leading the exam taker through the reading to the author's idea or theme the author wants to convey. Therefore, most of your responses to the questions for that reading should reflect this thematic thread. Here's question 4 from Waterslide. The poem focuses on a parent's A. Desire to influence a child's decisions, B. Preoccupation with ensuring a child's safety, C. Observation regarding a child's development, or D. Concerns about the consequences of a child's actions. A says it's a desire to influence a child's decisions, but that response then would suggest looking into the future, and we've already understood by question number 1 that the speaker is into fond reflection, and that would talk about the past. So A is not the right answer. B is a preoccupation with ensuring a child's safety. Again, that's looking at the future and not looking at that fond reflection. So B is not the answer. C is an observation regarding a child's development. Now here I can look at it in terms of the past, and so C would be the answer. And D, concerns about the consequences of a child's actions. Again, we're looking at future events, so D would not be the answer. So looking at this thematic link that is occurring between all these questions, I want to see that it was about living again, it was about the brambled summer, it was about paddling against rough edges. And so the one answer that fits all three of that criteria is observation regarding a child's development. Notice how the answers are building to an understanding of the poem. The parent's fond reflection, the son's exploration and missteps, the son is known as a voyageur by the parent, and the observation regarding child's development. The poem suggests a parent's reflection on a child's movement from childhood into adolescence and the troubled waters the child is navigating as he grows. So again, here are the 5 basic strategies that would help to build success in your reading exams. Number 1, read questions first, then selection, and then answer the questions. Number 2, read everything that is on the page. Number 3, reread cited lines in context of the surrounding sentences. Number 4, read stem of the question carefully, noting directing words and verbs. And number 5, check that the questions answered are developing the author's intended theme. Good luck! Before the exam, you can ensure that you have a good night's sleep. You come early for the exam. You have at least 2 pencils, highlighter, and eraser. Bring water and earplugs if you'd like. And take a few deep breaths.